Hello friends and welcome to Shauna Stitches. I'm Shauna and this is my crafty podcast where I talk about all the things that I've been working on lately. This is episode number 51 and today is June the 15th, 2022. Thank you to everyone who's here. I am so happy to welcome you to my podcast. I am very happy with the community that we're building here and thank you for being a part of it. Today I'm wearing my V-back tee. And there's Rudy. I don't know what he's upset about. As I was saying, I think I finished this last year, the year before. I haven't worn it much. It is called the V-back tee, but I like to wear it with the V in front. There's what the back looks like. And I will stand up. It's not a great shot, but to be honest, I'm still wearing my pajama pants, so I'm not going to give you a shot of my pajama pants. I'm filming this before I take a nap to go to work tonight because I work graveyard shift, so this was as presentable as I could be today. I'm drinking decaf coffee in my wifey mug. I got this last year when we went on a little mini vacation, and my husband has one that says hubby. And I think his is black on the rim. This one's pink. I can't tell if you can tell. It has coffee stains because I've already been drinking coffee this morning. All right. Let's see. I don't have a finished object to physically show you right now, but I do have some pictures. I finally finished the binding on the quilt that I was working on, and I got that in the mail yesterday. So, hopefully the recipient likes it. I'm excited to hear back. I know that this person is craft worthy, so I don't have any worries there. I did forget to mention, I did say I didn't wear this much. It's so weird. Like if I hold my arms up like this, it's fine. But like this, I don't know, you just get bunching. It's not uncomfortable, but I don't think it looks very nice. And I tried it flipped around the normal way, it still gets bunching. So I don't know if I did the wrong size. I don't know if it's something I did. I don't know. I'm on all the tangents already. We're 2.5 minutes in, Tangent City. I haven't been naming my episodes lately, but if I were, and maybe I will, this is probably going to be Tangent City. Anyway, I have already shown you pictures of the quilt, I think. Part of me thinks I should start over. We're going to keep going. All right. I do have notes today. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. The first thing I'm going to show you is the progress on my ripple cardigan. I feel like I've made pretty good progress on this, and I was even so smart to put a progress keeper in. So the last time I showed you, it was right there, which was like no progress at all. And so I added couple inches. I think it's probably around 3 inches now in length. I'm happy with it. I love the speckles. It's so pretty. And it's fun to knit. I don't always look at my knitting. This is just 3x3 ribbing, so it's not too difficult to do without looking. But when I see those little speckles popping up and I'm knitting it in, it's just so pretty. The yarn is by A Yarn to Die For. I mentioned it in the previous episode. It's like Bertie Bott's favorite beans or something like that. Anyhow, it's all on my Ravelry project page. I did forget to mention, another tangent. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, both under Shauna Stitches. Those are the best places to find me other than here on YouTube. All right, so my plan, I still would love to have that finished by the time that we go on vacation, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. I think Rudy wants to say hi. He's standing by my feet. Oh, come here, Rudy. Oh, this is Rudy. Yeah. I don't know. Usually they sleep all the time, so I'm not sure why he's awake this morning. Why are you awake? What were you barking at? Anyway, he'll probably go to sleep now. The next project that I have to show you is an update on my Oregon Coast Shetland shawl. This is going to be very hard to show you because I'm doing the applied border, and it gets knit on across, so I don't know, it's not very easy to show, but here's a close-up. This is the first time I've ever done beading, and I'm really enjoying it. It's not hard at all, so if you're thinking of doing beads, don't be intimidated. It is just very slow. I know there are different techniques for beading. This is the technique where you use a crochet hook, you take the stitch that you want the bead on off, and you already have a bead slipped onto the crochet hook, you slip that stitch on, and then you pull the bead over and put the stitch back on the needle, and then you knit it. So I like it. I am slightly disappointed. I still have this much yarn left, which is about 100 grams. I'm definitely not going to make it to the center color. And this was supposed to use 1,000 yards, and that's 1,100. There's no way. I've even added extra. I can't remember if I said, actually, I think I have a progress keeper here. Oh, yep, there it is. Was I showing you the wrong side? I might have been showing the wrong side. There's the progress keeper that I showed last time. So that means I was almost done with the extra rows. So all of these garter rows here, except for like 1 or 2, these are all extra that I added to use some of my yarn. Once I was almost done with that, the pattern designer came out and said that I could have repeated another wave section down here. And I thought about adding that after the garter, but based on her calculations for how much yardage the binding or the edging was going to take, I was afraid I wouldn't have enough, so I didn't want to rip out what I'd already done, and I just went with it. But I just have to say, I really appreciate shawl patterns where it's so adaptable that you can just keep going until all of your yarn is used up. And that being said, I don't know, 1,000 yards sounded like a big shawl, but this is not going to be huge. And of course it's lace, it'll block out. I don't know how much a cotton blend will block out, but definitely that lace is going to open up. So yeah, it's real slow going. I've done 13 of the points so far. These all are like little chevron points. 13, and there's like 40. So I have a long way to go. I really want to get that done. I really want to get both of those projects done for vacation because I feel like that wrap would be really nice. Sometimes you're inside and there's air conditioning, and I think it'd be nice to put over a tank top or something like that. Plus it's pretty, so I don't usually have a lot of opportunities to wear pretty things, but I feel like vacation is a perfect opportunity. All right, my last project that I have to show you progress on is a brand new project. I know I was trying not to really cast on a lot of new things, but I couldn't resist. I was watching Michelle and Leslie of the Naughty Knitwits, and Michelle has been working on a crochet granny square blanket for a while. She's using her Row 1 minis, and I really liked it the last time she showed it, and then she showed it again, and I couldn't resist but cast one on. So this is a mostly finished square. I'm using Row 1 minis. I've had their subscription off and on. I don't currently have one, but it used to be way back in the day, you would either get 5 or 10 gram minis. So if they were 5 grams, you'd get 20 of them. If they were 10 gram minis, you'd get 10. Either way, it was equal to a full skein. So this is all Row 1 minis, and actually these are all dyed by my friend Tammy of Candy Skein. She dyes for Candy Skein Yarn in Astoria. And I had already used 2 for the scrappy stripy socks that I knit recently. So I used 2 that I had from Tammy because we're personal friends and we swap yarn. So I was lucky to have 2 that I could just add in here. That made me really happy. So this is a complete Candy Skein square. The way Michelle's doing hers, each one is a dyer in itself, and I really like that idea. I think it's I just think it's a cool display. I don't know what I remember after the blanket's done, which square is which, maybe not, but I still think it's kind of cool. So this is the one that I have in progress. As I mentioned, row 1 used to do 5-gram minis, so everything up to this green is 5 grams, and then this brown one called, I think it's birch bark, is a 10-gram. So you can kind of see, I like that a little bit better using the 5 grams for the middle, because this is a 10-gram and it's just huge. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't really matter, but I think it looks kind of nice to have it broken up a little bit. So this is a row 1 mini bag. This is by Western Sky Knits, except for the 5-gram minis are just random ones, because she didn't used to label the yarns with the dyer. It would just have the yarn name. So if you didn't keep them together, you wouldn't really know. And I had moved most of mine from the row 1 bags into like a big bin that I have a bunch of minis in. So I'm so tempted to renew my subscription, but I have a good number of minis in my stash. I'm thinking I have enough to make a blanket, but maybe not. So anyway, I'd like to use what I have now and then resubscribe when I'm really close to out, because otherwise I just tend to let things build up. So this is a nice stash buster. It'd be great if I had a bunch of leftovers. I don't have a ton. I think it's because I've done a lot of swaps, and like I said, I swap yarn with my friend, and I've used some in other projects. But just to briefly say what the plan is for this, I'm going to use 10-gram minis or some combination of 5 and 10-gram minis for my squares. And then once I have several done, I'll see what the biggest one is, and I'll use a undyed white to border them so that they're all the same size. And then I'll use a join as you go method to join them. I was showing you the back side again. Let me mention, and the reason I know it's the back side is because I did weave in my ends, but there's a little end right there, just the end of an end. It's already woven in. The nice thing about this pattern, it's by Blossom Crochet. I didn't see anything on Ravelry that's an actual pattern, but she has a tutorial on YouTube. I started crocheting, that was my first craft, so I don't really need a lot of help. But I think the tutorial is good enough that if you don't know what you're doing with crochet, that you could do this. But the nice thing about this is it's a, I don't think she actually calls it jogless, maybe she does, something like perfect granny square. So you'll notice, like, if you do a granny square in the traditional method, it'll start to like go wonky a little bit and it will skew. So it's not a perfect square. This one is a perfect square because you do a round and then you turn around and you go back. So you're actually crocheting on the front and the back every other round. And once it's all together, you really can't tell. The other thing about that is that it kind of makes for some uneven stripes because you are turning around. So sometimes 1 or 2 sides will have maybe 3 stripes and the other side will only have 1. It's not super noticeable, I don't think, and it's scrappy anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, I've been flying on that project. I've really been enjoying it. There are a lot of ends to weave in. This one doesn't have the ends woven in, and it's a mess right now. But they're not hard to weave in. So, yes. That's my absolute mindless project right now. Actually, they're all, well, I guess the beads are not, that's not mindless at all. But mostly, let's see, that's all of the whips that I have put work in on. I have not worked on the socks that I showed last time, the Rainbow Connection socks, and I haven't started any new socks. The next thing I want to mention is I've alluded to vacation. We're still like a month away. I'm so excited. I need a vacation so bad. I mentioned that we did go on vacation when we got these, but it was a local, still in Oregon vacation. And now we're friendly. We're not just leaving the state, we're leaving the country. So I'm a little nervous about that just because I've heard so many flights have been canceled lately, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but I'm also being somewhat realistic about the fact that if I plan for it to happen and it doesn't happen, then it's like a bonus. It just sucks that we have to plan like that now. But we've planned it for 13 nights. So even if we miss a day, it won't be the end of the world. Although I don't want to miss a day, so let's hope. Anyway, I was thinking about what project I want to cast on for vacation. My husband thought another like light top would be nice. And I was scrolling through Ravelry trying to find something, and everything I was landing on, I would have to buy yarn for. And, I'm trying not to buy yarn because I have a lot in stash. And part of me was like, well, it's vacation. I could make an exception. But then I decided to look in my queue and see what I have yarn for and what might be good vacation knitting. So I came up with 2 ideas. The first is this Holst Garn. I think this is super soft. Yep, it tells me inside. Super soft in the color Marlin. It's a whole cone. So I would wind this off into cakes before I left. But my thought for this is a boxy. This has always been intended to make a boxy by Joji Locatelli. I've never knit that pattern. But once you're done with the bottom ribbing all the way up to the arm separation, it's just knitting and it's huge, and I feel like that would take no thought at all. The color's pretty. I don't think it's showing up correctly. It's almost like a dark denim, but with a little bit of teal. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is the half and half triangles wrap by Pearl Soho. And for that, I have 2 options. I have this combination. This one is Bright Flamingo, and that is so aptly named. It is a bright, bright, bright neon pink. And the one I would use with that is this one called Peach Stone, which this is a hard color to really tell you what color it is. It's kind of mauve, kind of tan or brown, kind of purple. I'm not sure. But anyway, so I have that combo. Or I have this combo. Can you tell I like bright pink? Anyway, this one is more of a coral color, and it's called Peachy Pink. And this one is Honey Pink. So that combo or this combo. This is harder than it looks. There we go. So yeah, I don't know. That would be also very mindless. And I know I said we're only gone 13 days, 13 nights, whatever, but maybe I'll cast them both on. That way if I'm feeling a shawl or if I'm feeling a sweater. They're both just knitting, so. Anyway, if you have any input on that, if you've knit either, I have knit most of a half and half triangle wrap, but I knit it in DK weight for a baby blanket. It's not finished yet. It did have a recipient in mind. It's long gone, long past that, so I guess maybe when I have another baby that I know that's being born, maybe I'll finish it. It's really nice. I should have brought it out here to show you, but it's also quite large. So I'm familiar with that pattern. I think I did the German short row adaptation by, shoot, I'm forgetting their names, Caddy Jacks from their podcast. They had done a tutorial on how to do German short rows instead of wrap and turns. I think I might try the wrap and turn for this one, but we'll see. And let's see, that's all the knitting, crochet, and or coming soon projects. Now we are just on to life stuff. So as I mentioned, I am super excited for vacation. It's been, well, we haven't been out of the country since our honeymoon, which will be 3 years in November. So it'll be just over like 2.5 years by the time we finally get to go. And as we all know, the last 2+ years has been quite trying. Work has been very stressful. It's been exceptionally stressful lately. So I'm feeling definitely feeling the need for this, for a break. I'm sure I will want to just stay on vacation, but I'll miss my dog, so that gives me a reason to want to come back. It's too bad they can't go with us. Other than that, I have started a new sourdough starter. I'm on day 3 of that, watching some YouTube tutorials on how to get started again. I used to have one, but I wasn't using it the right way, and so there really wasn't much of a benefit, and I let it just get old in the refrigerator and threw it out. So this one, there's a method called the dry method or something similar to that, where you put like a ton of flour in there and it can be stored in the refrigerator for up to 6 weeks. So I think I'm going to give that a try once it's established. The other thing that I'm going to do differently is, before I was just putting the sourdough starter in my bread maker, and there wasn't really a noticeable flavor difference because I wasn't letting the sourdough starter become active, or I don't think it's called proofing in sourdough. Maybe it is. I'm not a great bread maker, but I'm excited to try some actual sourdough. So like I said, I'm only on day 3, but I'm seeing some bubbles. It's starting to smell good. So hopefully I will have some really beautiful sourdough pictures to show you at some point in the future. For watching stuff, we finished watching the first half of this season of Stranger Things. The next half hasn't come out yet. It's so good. I really don't want that one to end. And I don't know what's going to happen. So if you're watching, I hope you're in just as much suspense as I am, because I cannot even guess where it's going to go. Other than that, as I mentioned, I'm working tonight. So it seems like the podcast is coming out about every week and a half, and I feel like that's pretty good. It's just enough time that I have progress to show, but not too much that I completely forget what I've worked on. So I think that's kind of where we're settling in. I'd love to do it every week, but my days off change every week, so this just kind of works. Yeah, if you have any suggestions for what I should knit on vacation, or if you have a preference between the boxy or the half and half, you have experience knitting those, I would love to hear from you. Let me know. I think I'm going to do a gauge swatch, which I don't even know why I bothered to swatch, especially for something as big as the boxy, because pretty much it's going to fit anyway. The only part I really have to worry about is the sleeves. And I don't know. Every time I go by a swatch, it just feels like it lies. But I know that this whole scarn yarn changes a lot once it's blocked, so I think I will actually wash and block it and see what it comes out to be. So that's my plan. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you being here. I never remember to say this, but if you're so inclined, please like and subscribe, and then you'll be notified every time a new episode comes out. Thanks again for joining me. Bye.